just to the east of Shelby that I'm looking at there. And then also some rotation just to the further north of that. And some of these are a little bit broader, some of these a little bit tighter here. So that's just going to show that we are seeing some signs of rotation within this storm. And again, it's moving eastward. Now, kind of draw in a little arrow here to show us what communities are going to be affected with this storm. So I'll scoot in just again a little bit closer here. The storm is moving just to the west and to the east, or excuse me, to the west, to the north of Mansfield. Let's draw here, right here. If it stays on its trajectory, these are the communities that are going to be affected. So Spring Hill, right about now. Liberty Park heads up to you at 7:48, so that's about 10 minutes from now that the storm is moving through. Fleming Hills at 7:51, Charles Mill at 8 o'clock, Ruffner Monument at 8 o'clock as well. So this will take us right up to 8 o'clock. So if the storm stays on its trajectory, again, Spring Hill, Liberty Park, Fleming Falls, Charles Mill, and Ruffner Monument will be affected by this storm. Andre's out at the big board, and he's also tracking this storm with us. Andre, what do you got there?
All right, and we're looking at the velocity scan. That's one of the things that Doppler weather radar does best, and we're seeing two distinct areas that are spinning just a bit. And we have the tornado warning, as we mentioned, until 8 o'clock for central Richland County, west central Ashland County, southeast Crawford County, in central Ohio until 8 o'clock. And take a look right in here. You see the two couplets that are showing up. Here's Ashland. And so this one's right in between Ashland and Savannah along U.S. Route 250. And that's moving straight east at 25 miles an hour. So if you're anywhere along 250 between Ashland and Savannah, you should be in your place of safety. Take your phone with you. You can stream us on digital and stay in tune there. Safest place, interior room, bathroom would be a good place to go because of the plumbing all around you. Here's another area of rotation right in here, and that's north of Mansfield and east of Shelby. So we've got this one, which is moving east right along the Richland County and Ashland County border. So we have these two spots in here. So if you live anywhere between Ashland and just east of Shelby and or just south of Savannah, this is the time to go to your place of safety. Take no chances. We have seen some photos earlier. This cell did in fact produce a funnel cloud when it was back far to the west in the Attica area, and we had a little bit of a signature there. So again, the signatures are there. The potential is there for some of these systems to perhaps get a little rambunctious. So let's switch modes here and show you that we have, there's the tornado warning area, and obviously you can see we're looping it in, and this thing just comes barreling in. Lots and lots of lightning. Tornado warning until 8 o'clock, Ashland, Richland County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning, which basically overlaps the tornado warning, except that expires a little bit later and is extended up to the northeast. In fact, what I'll do is I'll widen out the view here so that you can see it just a little bit better. There's the system moving to the east, and that one cluster has really filled in the gap. We were wondering if that gap would fill in, and it sure has, but it's not a solid line. There are some holes in the coverage, especially right up against the lakeshore, except just to the east, where we have another severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect. All right, let's, if Dante is ready and perhaps monitoring the National Weather Service chat, is there anything new going on?
Well, as a matter of fact, Andre, we were just reading, Mackenzie and I, from the National Weather Service chat that they were saying that a rotating wall cloud, which is indicative of tornadic activity, was located around the Crestline area not too long ago. As a matter of fact, it looks like that was just a few minutes ago. And that makes sense. If we zoom in here, we'll see there's there's Crestline right there, and that's the back end of that storm. And so that's typically where we would see any tornadoes here. So that is in line with what we've been seeing. And that's one of the reasons why the National Weather Service did issue a tornado warning, is because we're seeing some of these signs of tornadic activity that's possible. Again, these are radar indicated, but we've also seen funnel clouds from ground spotters, and then also seen from ground spotters rotating wall clouds, which is what you want before any tornado forms, is a wall cloud, not a shelf cloud, not the big monster cloud that you usually see that sort of looks like a spaceship or what have you. A wall cloud is a little smaller than that. So we're also looking at severe thunderstorm warnings as well. So as Andre mentioned, we got some overlap here with this particular storm. But even once the tornado warning is allowed to expire, the severe thunderstorm warning will probably go on for a little bit because the storm is still surviving. It just may not be tornadic by the time the tornado warning expires. So around Bailey Lakes, we're seeing a lot of rain with this storm, a lot of lightning, as Andre just showed you as well. Over towards West Salem, that's coming in your direction now, and over towards Canaan. Worcester, heads up that if this storm stays on its trajectory, you'll probably see this here within the next, I'd say, a half hour to 40 minutes or so into Worcester, maybe a bit sooner than that. It's moving at the east at about 25 miles an hour, so it's moving at a decent clip. Up towards Litchfield and Brunswick and Strongsville, you're going to see a few showers and thunderstorms moving your direction in just a minute. We'll scoot the radar ever so slightly to the north, and Minner. You are seeing some rain right about now, and the heaviest part of the thunderstorm with the gusty winds and even maybe a little bit of small hail and some heavy rain with a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning going to moving in your direction. Just a radar update right there. You saw the storm move an inch over towards the east. Painesville heads up to you, and then over into Chardon heads up. You're going to see the storm come in within the next, I'd say, 10 to 15 minutes. Euclid getting walloped right about now with heavy rain and some really gusty winds as well. And then we're looking at the city of Cleveland. Looks like there's some showers that are starting to develop in some areas of Cleveland. Others, you might actually see some thinning of the clouds, maybe a little bit of sunshine or so breaking out. So not everybody is going to see these storms in their backyard, but still tracking the tornado warning too. Just wanted to show you what else was going on as far as the other couple of severe thunderstorms. But Andre is out in the studio with what's going on with the tornado that's just to the north of Mansfield right about now. Andre.
That's right. And as a matter of fact, you mentioned the potential of a wall cloud in the Crestline area. So we took a closer look at that. This is, again, we are in the velocity scan. So this is what Doppler weather radar looks for circulation, looks at wind speeds. And right in here, here's Crestline. And notice that's right at the edge of where the tornado warning begins. So it begins right at the Crestline area, just to the east of Crestline, but well to the west of Mansfield. Now, so those of you that are in the Mansfield area, this is something that really should be on your radar, no pun intended, because this is moving to the east at about 25 miles an hour, right along U.S. Route 30. This little blue zone right in here says that there are wind speeds moving away from the radar, so that would be this kind of rotation. And so it's entirely possible that reports of the wall cloud would be right here because we're seeing that kind of signature. Now, this is moving to the east, so those of you anywhere along U.S. Route 30, between Crestline and between Mansfield, should be taking cover right now. Go to your place of safety. And hopefully this is an exercise that you do every single year. You look at your home and you see the safe place to be during a tornado warning. And so that's where you should be. Take your portable gear with you, your phone, hopefully. You can watch Fox 8, pardon me, on the Fox 8 fan page, on Facebook, or... Okay, very good. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. So again, that's moving to the east. Let's take a look at some of the other regions because there are two other zones, and these are two zones that we looked at earlier. This one's a little farther north, well to the east of Shelby and well west of Ashland. But again, everything's moving to the east at about 25 miles an hour. So there appears to be a little bit of a rotation here, certainly well within the tornado warned area, which is in effect until 8 p.m. Again, Crestline to Mansfield, U.S. Route 30, and anywhere between Shelby and Ashland. If you live in there, that would be a spot that you should be taking cover. And now, if you live west of Shelby and well west of Crestline, you can probably safely come out of your place of safety and return to a little more normal activity. But if you live anywhere within the tornado warning box area, and there's a lot of rural farms in here until you get into some of the higher population centers like Ashland and like Mansfield, but that is still inside the zone. So you need to be very, very careful. Head to your place of safety until these regions that we just showed you moves well to the east. Mackenzie Bart is standing by now to show us what else is going on.
Hey, thanks, Andre. Yeah, you preach a good word there, because if you are in that box that you're seeing on your screen, that tornado warning, you want to make sure you're in your safe zone until we give you the clear, until that warning has expired. Right now, that is set to expire at 8:15. We'll let you know that it gets extended any, but right now, that's what we're looking at. And here is where that box encompasses. So if you're in Shelby, Mansfield, Ashland, or even onto the west side of Vermilion, I would definitely make sure you are in that safe spot, because we have seen a few signatures early in the evening of some rotation, the rotating wall clouds that we've been talking about, and now we do have this tornado warning in place. And we are getting a few storm reports in. Just moments ago, we did get a report of a 2-foot diameter tree down blocking Tiffin Avenue in Willard. So we are seeing some places seeing trees toppled over, definitely probably a lot of branches down. Getting another update here from the National Weather Service. They are continuing that tornado warning. That will be for Ashland and Richland. So you may see that polygon change a little bit as we continue to track this system moving off into the east. And again, this will linger until about 8:15 this evening. This is a severe thunderstorm that was capable of producing, or 8:15 this tonight. And this is because of a thunderstorm containing a possible tornado. Right now, seeing maybe the possibility of that rotation over Ontario. So we're going to continue to watch out for that. Let's put our velocity up so you can see right where a little bit of that rotation may be. And again, we've been talking about a little bit broad here as you see those greens and red kind of back to back just north of Mansfield, a little bit closer towards the Ashland area. We'll put a bit of a track on this for you so you can see exactly where this is going. So continuing to move off to the east right around 30 miles per hour. So if we stretch this out, you can see it'll continue moving a little bit closer towards Armstrong right around 8:07, and then continue pushing towards Cedar Valley right around 8:10. So even though if you're not included in that box, you still want to be weather aware this evening as we're continuing to track the potential for some severe weather throughout the region. And you can see we still have a few severe thunderstorm warnings north of that as well. So if you're not in that tornado warning, still seeing some very strong storms. If we just take you up to the north of even Bailey Lakes, up towards West Salem and Sullivan, you are included in a severe thunderstorm warning. So you could see wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour contained in that. And they also just continued that severe thunderstorm warning. That will also last up until about 8:15, hopefully seeing a few of these storms fizzle out some. But as you can see, containing that tornado warning, that will last until 8:15 tonight, tracking the potential for this moving off to the east. Let's send it back to Andre for the latest. Andre?
We're watching the velocity scan. That's something that I've had up here most of the time. And watching a couple of interesting areas. This whole cell has been rotating, but we have one hot spot right in here. It's east of Crestline. If you live in Crestline or Galleon and points west, you can now come out of your place of safety. But just east of Crestline, along U.S. Route 30, all the way into Mansfield, you should be in your place of safety as this continues to rotate and head to the east. So there's a possible wall cloud in here, and that certainly is not out of the realm of possibility. Another zone is right in here. We're looking along Ohio Route 455. and Ohio Route 13. Notice right in here that we have another couplet of red and green indicating some rotation right in here. This is north of Mansfield and west of Ashland, near Weller. If you're in Weller, you should definitely be in your place of safety for a little while. In the Mansfield area, I would stay covered because this zone is heading in your direction. By the way, the tornado warning is in effect until 8 p.m. The severe thunderstorm warning that goes up to the north, that's in effect until 8:15. So we'll see where this ends up. Now let's look at this because this is the very, very latest. And so now we're seeing this rotation push towards Ontario, one of the western suburbs of Mansfield. Mansfield, Ontario, you should be in your place of safety until this clears your area. It's moving east at 25 miles per hour or so. That's going to take at least 20, 30 minutes to pass through this area. And just be on the safe side, locate where that is. If you have not done so, an interior room with lots of plumbing around it, a bathroom, interior bathroom would be a great place, or a small hallway with lots and lots of support in between you and the walls. That would be a place of safety. Bring your equipment with you. Bring your iPad with you so you can continue to watch us and stay informed. All right, Chris, so what was that you were just telling me? Okay, very good. Let's take a look at a few more things before we pass it back to Mackenzie. I'm sure she's watching and seeing if there's any new information. A lot of this, of course, just outside of Mansfield and just outside of Ashland, basically would be a lot of rural areas, but people live in the rural areas as well. So if you live in anywhere in these zones, you need to play it safe, especially right here, just south of U.S. Route 30 in Ontario, heading towards Mansfield. And you can see a couple of other couplets in here. They're a bit more widespread, a bit more stretched out would be a better term to use, but still these are areas of concern. But here's the new polygon that Mackenzie was talking about. They've trimmed this up, really focused. And really the big focus is down in here. It's moving to the east, I believe, still at about 25 miles per hour. Let me give you a broad view. And we still have the severe thunderstorm warning here. That would be Summit County, southern Cuyahoga County, and the severe thunderstorm warning that extends up north of I-71, north of Worcester, towards Burbank and Lodi. Okay, with that, let's see what Mackenzie has.
Hey, thanks, Andre. Yeah, I do want to say beyond the tornado warning that we have, which will expire at 8 p.m., so that is with the latest update, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that they just issued. This is a little bit closer towards the Cleveland area, so it does encompass parts of Cuyahoga County. You can see just south of Parma, this does include Richfield, even Medina just to the north experiencing some of that heavy rain, frequent lightning, but this will continue to move off to the east. So folks in Hudson, Twinsburg, you are going to experience not only the heavy rain, the frequent lightning, but also the gusty conditions. So far in this severe thunderstorm warning, they are reporting wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. We have seen a few storms with gusts up to 40 and already have had a few storm reports of some trees down across the area and some larger branches, so definitely enough to do a little bit of damage. Also the possibility of some small hail included in that. And I was actually just looking at our hail tracker a little earlier on, and it does seem like we do have a few spots of some isolated hail. This will mainly be down closer to the Mansfield area, just past Shelby and even Ashland, where we did have the tornado warning earlier, but again, that is expired for some of those folks. So let's turn back on that tornado warning. Again, this will last until 8 o'clock unless we see any extension there. And of course, we'll let you know about that. All right, for now, let's send it back to Andre.
Mackenzie, we're watching the system here, and I've got several other sources pulling in, and I've got the latest showing this actually much closer to Mansfield. So If you live in Mansfield right now, you should be taking cover as this area of rotation is moving right along U.S. Route 430 and just south of U.S. Route 30. If you live in the Mansfield area, you should be taking cover in your safe place with your devices so you can watch us remotely. This is going to take another at least 15 minutes to cross by the Mansfield area, but there's some pretty decent rotation, and I'm getting new data here, not here, but I can tell you where that rotation is now. It's literally just to the east of the downtown Mansfield area, right along Ohio Route 39, south of U.S. Route 30. So, pardon me, if you live anywhere right in here, you should definitely be taking cover at least for the next 10 or 15 minutes until that can clear out. Now, the tornado warning is set to expire in about 2 minutes, but we still have some suspect areas that you need to monitor. Again, Mansfield area and points east along Ohio Route 39 and south of U.S. Route 30. You should be in your place of safety for about 10 minutes. Give it 10 minutes. If you see us go off the air, that's because the tornado warning. Okay, and I'm just seeing that it has been extended for good reason to 8:30, and there is the new zone right in there. And it is essentially it covers Mansfield points and just to the south of Ashland. Doesn't include Ashland, but I would still be on the safe side. Know where you're going to go if this gets extended or any of these signatures will move your way. Naturally, you do not need a tornado warning if suddenly you hear something that Dick Goddard used to call the sound of a freight train coming at you. That's when you very quickly head to your place of safety. Keep it close. Don't venture too far away from that so that you can get to that place and cover yourself as best as you can. This is moving to the east at about 25 miles per hour. And that area is actually right in here now. It is just to the northeast of Mansfield, right along U.S. Route 30, and there's the latest sweep. So it's beginning to catch up here. Nonetheless, it's moving to the east, so anywhere along U.S. Route 30 is a place of concern. Now, to the west of Ontario, which is right about here, and you can see the new tornado watch box is right in here. So Ontario west, Ontario south, you're probably in the clear. Be close to your place of safety, but you can probably come out of your place of safety from Crestline and Ontario west and south, but stay there for the next 10 or 15 minutes in the Mansfield area, just south of Ashland. All right, let's go back to, do we have Mackenzie or Dante?
Yep, still me.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to put a little bit of a track right where we're seeing that rotation that you pointed out, Andre. So if we continue to see this move off to the east, right around 25 miles per hour, so let's extend this out. So folks ahead of Mansfield, even though we are seeing that rotation right on top of Mansfield right now, if we continue to see that hold together, that will be a bit closer towards East Mansfield right at 8:04, Crimson at 8:15, Charles Mills at 8:20, and then Whittleville right around 8:25. So I know you're included in that box, so you should be in your safe zone. But if we continue to see this advance, those will be a few of those spots that will be in the path of this possible rotation. Now, we haven't seen any of our spotters report any confirmation of a tornado on the ground, but we've definitely seen many reports of rotating wall clouds, and that is why we're continuing to see this tornado warning not only get extended, but also now lasting up until about 8:30 p.m. That will be for Ashland and the Richland area. And, when we talk about your safe zone and where you should be, let's kind of go over what that means in terms of your home. So you want to get to the most interior part of your room, whether that be a closet. If you have a basement, that is the best place to be, but even a bathroom will work. You don't want to be near any of those windows or any doors that kind of lead to the exterior. You want to be in the center of your home or the closest place that you be. And again, safest place is to be is the basement. You want to make sure you're covering yourself, especially your head, your neck, your back, with a blanket, a mattress if you have that nearby. Usually a bicycle helmet will work if you have that, and of course avoid those windows, doors, and any of those walls to the outside. Now let's take it back to radar. We do have a few surrounding severe thunderstorm warnings within the vicinity of that tornado warning. Let's take these storm tracks off. There you can see the tornado warning in red, again encompassing Mansfield, Vermilion now. That will continue to push off to the east, but we do have a few severe thunderstorm warnings. This includes North Bloomfield, even Gilead experiencing some of that heavy rain, torrential rainfall, and also gusts up to 60 miles per hour reported in a few of that. Let's go up closer towards the Cleveland area. This will last until about 8:15, this severe thunderstorm warning that we have up here for parts of Cuyahoga County. And again, just south of Parma, but Parma, you're now in the clear. This line is continuing to push off to the east. So Maple Heights, probably hearing some of that rain really pick up, the frequent lightning, and also the gusty conditions. That stretches down through Brecksville, even Richfield, just about to pick up on some of the heavy rain, and then that'll make its way down to parts of Grandeur as well. So seeing some of that torrential downpour included in that severe thunderstorm warning. Let's put a bit of a track on this warning so you can see exactly where it's headed. This is mainly pushing off to the east, and you can see if it continues on this path, it'll be in Hudson right around 8:14, and then Stowe right around 8:19 this evening. So we are still seeing some very strong storms across the region, which we've seen pretty much all evening long. It's a very hot and humid day, so the atmosphere definitely lent hand to that. Taking you down to the south where we have this tornado warning until about 8:30 this evening. I want to check back on our velocity scan, and we are seeing that couplet right now looks like a little bit broader than we saw earlier. Again, kind of moving closer to the Worcester Heights area, just south of Fleming Falls, but we're still seeing some of that broad rotation. Getting a report in that the rotation that the National Weather Service has been tracking in Richland County, just east of Mansfield, is looking a little bit less defined on radar, but still present, so you still want to be in that safe zone. We could also see a new area of rotation developing in southwest Ashland County near Mifflin, and that is also included within the warning. So if you're near Mifflin, if you're in Ashland County, you still want to be in that safe zone, as we're still seeing a bit of rotation as we stretch across the region. Andre, let's send it back to you.
I want to point out one thing that caught my attention earlier. This is obviously not Vermilion. Vermilion is up by the lakeshore, and that is mislabeled. It should be Hayesville. Hayesville with Jeromesville not too far away. This is the zone of highest suspect, if you will. It is moving to the east 25 miles an hour. It essentially has been riding U.S. Route 30 almost the entire time since the first tornado warning was issued. Now about 35, 40 minutes ago. So it started here, Crestline area. And notice the track from Crestline. It essentially went straight through Mansfield, and it is tracking right along U.S. Route 30. This again should be Hayesville. Jeromesville is right about there. So if you live in Hayesville or Jeromesville, you should be heading to your place of safety right now. There's also another hotspot, and let me show it to you down in here, and that's near Belleville, near the Mohican Castle area of the southern Ashland, southern Richland County, and there is a strong rotation in here. It's a bit more widespread. It's not as focused, but there is something going on in here. If you live just north of Belleville, right along I-71, and not far really from Possum Run Road, you may want to at least be prepared to your move to your place of safety. Let me place on here where the tornado warning is, the tornado box, so that you can see what's going on here. This is the box that's currently in effect until 8:30. The main area is right now is, again, this is, ignore the name. This is not Vermilion. This is Hayesville with Jeromesville right about there. There's Loudonville, again, near the state park down there. So that includes you. There's some interesting signatures going on here. The main twisting is here, but anywhere in this box, you should be in your place of safety. If you live now from Ontario west and Ontario southwest to North Bloomfield, you're okay. You can come out of your place of safety and assess things if you have to. I'm not sure if we're getting any kind of reports of anything in the area. And if Dante, if you're listening to me, you can listen.
Yeah.
Or rather, if you can check with National Weather Service to see, are there any reports of any even funnel clouds or wall clouds in these areas? Because obviously the signatures are very impressive, and we had some funnel clouds earlier, just off the map here, much earlier this afternoon, towards Attica and Willard. Of course, that's the same cell we've been tracking here, so it has had a history of some spinning, all part of a big system, which is adding that spin well to our northwest. So that's why this is going on. So with that, let's see what's going on, see if there's anything new. Here's Dante.
Not tracking, not seeing anything, Andre, in all honesty, in terms of any reports coming in from any more funnel clouds or any rotation or anything of that sort. Just kind of looking at the National Weather Service information here. We got a computer coordination with the National Weather Service when folks are reporting things to the National Weather Service. They will also report it out to the local media outlets as well as emergency management outlets as well. So we get to all see what emergency personnel and first responders are seeing on the ground. Not only do we get a chance to see that, but we also bring it out to you, and then we also invite you to let us know, and then we have multiple teams of meteorologists that are working so that they can also input the information that you're telling us that you're seeing for the National Weather Service and first responders to see as well, so that we can all coordinate and see what's going on in different communities. So we're looking at that sort of cooperation, that communication, not seeing any reports of anything going on. As Andre mentioned, there's a bigger rotation, just to the north of us that this frontal boundary is attached to. And here's some of the things that we've been looking at. Wind shear, some of the ingredients we kind of look at. Anytime you hear us talk about severe weather threats, we break this down, and these are the big players in the atmosphere that we look at to say, okay, is this going on? Is that going on? Do we have SL but not I but M? Or do we have I and M and L but not S? And so we kind of look at those ingredients and say, okay, based off of what we have, these are the threats that we can see. So we have all of these elements in play. So we've got the wind shear, which is indicative of the storms that are rotating and the tornadoes that are forming. So turning of winds with height. So the further up in the atmosphere you go, the winds start to turn a different direction. So that allows the storm to rotate. And then when the storm's taking in the air starts to rotate as well when the storms are taking it in, because the storm is rotating. Sometimes the further up, the wind starts to go a little bit faster the further up you go. And so that also creates shear, and that it creates a rotating motion for the storm, and the air that's the storm is taking in starts to rotate in the spin, and we call that helicity when that air starts to rotate. Frontal boundary, that forces the warm air and the moist air to rise. Low pressures also do that because of the pressure, a sucking motion that forces the air to get sucked up. We have a cold front that's moving through, and that's forcing all of these 90s with high humidity and dew points, that air to rise and cool and condense and form that. And that's what instability that we talk about. When we talk about the hot temperatures in the 80s and 90s, that's the instability, and all the humidity out there, that's the moisture. So we have all of those in place where we have the shear, we have the frontal boundary providing us with the lift, we have the instability with the hot temperatures in the 90s today, and then the tons of moisture in the atmosphere, we have that. So we certainly have all the ingredients in place here for severe weather as we're seeing it. Okay, so let's take a look at, Mackenzie mentioned it earlier, some of the hail here. I'll scoot back here and show you the hail tracker. A lot of this hail's been small. It's not been very large in size, but yet it's been there nonetheless. We'll start off from the top here in the northern portions of Geauga County, just to the north of Chesterland and down towards Solon, just to the west of Twinsburg, down into Montrose and Ghent and Congress, seeing some small hail. Mohican down towards, looks like Vermilion down into Ashland County, just to the south of Ashland. And then over towards Mansfield, seeing some small hail down there as well as Gilead. So we've certainly been seeing some hail in these storms, but albeit not large hail. So let's take a look at these storms again, just to kind of show you what we're looking at in totality. So we've got now, looks like 3 severe thunderstorm warnings in place. The first severe thunderstorm warning, that's going to be for the eastern and southern portions of Cuyahoga County down into northern portions of Summit County. And so those are affecting communities like Moreland Hills, just to the east of Maple Heights, Bainbridge and Twinsburg. You're going to get affected by this if you're not seeing the rain and the gusty winds already. Over in the Hudson, Richfield, and even down in the Cuyahoga Falls, you're probably seeing just some rain showers right about now, but you'll probably see, maybe if you look just off to the west in Cuyahoga Falls, you might see a shelf cloud or so. That means that storm is coming in your direction. You're going to get some heavy rain and some pretty gusty winds with this. You're probably experiencing the gusty winds already. Then down south towards Canaan and Congress, Mohican, over towards, again, the Vermilion down into Ashland County, you are seeing some really heavy rain with this. And this is the tornado warning storm, too, over towards Vermilion and Loudonville. So heads up there as well. Loudonville, you were affected by the derecho that happened some time ago. So just a heads up there. Now you're going to be affected again by this tornadically warned storm. Not that we're seeing any funnel clouds yet with this still. It had a history of producing funnel clouds, and we had a wall cloud back towards Crestline, but don't know what it's doing now, but the rotation's still there on radar. So we're just going to keep this monitored as the National Weather Service keeps the severe thunderstorm warning as well as the tornado warning in place. And again, towards Belleville and Gilead, that line of thunderstorms stretches. Looks like that's probably the best of the line. Not really seeing much as you head down towards central Ohio. Not seeing much being picked up there, but certainly in our neck of the woods in northeast Ohio, we are seeing at least 3 severe thunderstorm warnings and a tornado warning. Looks like the severe thunderstorm warning may have expired for some portions of Richland and Ashland counties, but we still have the tornado warning and still have a severe thunderstorm warning for the southern portions of Richland and Ashland counties, south of Mansfield. So Mansfield on the south and eastern sides of town, still seeing some gusty winds, some heavy rain, even some hail falling there, and that's going to continue to track off to the east. Worcester heads up over in Wayne County. You're going to see some of that move in your direction probably within the next few minutes. As a matter of fact, let's just this particular line of the storm, let's just track that out to Worcester, and so we're going to see that probably within the next 20 minutes or so for Worcester. So just a heads up there that we could certainly see the possibility of you seeing a storm that is tornadically warned move into your general direction over into Worcester. So we are still looking at the heavy rainfall as being one of the threats, some hail and some pretty gusty winds with most of these storms, but the tornadically warned storm that we're still looking at in southern Richland and Ashland counties is certainly going to be monitored. Andre, what do you got?
looking at the velocity scan here, for those of you in Mansfield, you can now come out of your place of safety. The tornado tornado warning box has been pushed to the east, so you're no longer included in that. And all of the suspect areas are moving deeper into the box. And again, I want to just point out to the fact this is not Vermilion, this is Hayesville. Whenever we get in these situations, our database is so huge, so massive, every once in a while, when we get into these situations where we really hone in on and zoom in on, we end up with something that obviously is in the wrong spot. So that's Hayesville. And so there's one more after this episode is done that we'll make sure that is fixed. Hayesville, Jeromesville is up near Ohio Route 89. And here's the latest one. You can see the newest return has just come in. We still have a little bit of a signature right between Lucas. We've got winds that are very strong coming up in this direction, and this red indicating going away from the radar, which is up towards Cleveland Hopkins Airport. So you have the rotation. This is a little bit larger rotation, but it is rotation nonetheless. So if you live in Lucas, you are inside that tornado warning box. You should be in your place of safety. If you haven't determined that, now is a very good time to determine what that room would be. Very small room would be good. An indoor a bathroom in the central part of your house or a central hallway would be a good place to be right now. And just wait it out until this moves out of the way, because you never know. With this kind of signature, you can spawn a small tornado. And the other one is right in here. Again, that's Hayesville, and Hayesville right along U.S. Route 60, just south of U.S. 30, and that one's moving east at about 25 miles per hour. The tornado warning is in effect for another approximately 10 minutes or so, and we'll stay with this for a little bit because these have been kind of ebbing a little bit, but then they would begin to flare up. This is a flare-up right in here between Lucas and just to the north of Lucas, and there appears to be a much tighter circulation right in here between U.S. Route 30, and this is the latest return. I saw the sweep come in, and so this is constantly changing, and that is why anywhere inside that warned box, you really should be in your place of safety and just play it safe. Take your devices with you. You can watch us, and we'll tell you when all is clear. Again, Mansfield, no problem. Mansfield West, Mansfield North, you can relax, come out of your place of safety and assess things if you need to and take a look around. But east of that line, it is not a good idea to come out. Use your place of safety. Just stay there until these signatures can move to the east. And there's the other one again, Hayesville, Jeromesville. That's moving to the east with the biggest focus really south of Hayesville right now, almost ready to cross U.S. or Ohio Route 60, well north of Loudonville. But the tornado warning does include Loudonville just in case, because all of this can change very, very quickly and has been doing so. And I'm looking right now, it looks like the latest right in here has moved here, Jeromesville, not far away. And so if you're in Jeromesville right now, it's probably a good idea to be in your place of safety. Now, the tornado warning ends right here, but we're going to wait and see here momentarily to see if that gets extended, because these little pockets have been slowly trying to ebb. Now that the sun's energy is waning, is now below the surface, and they're still rotating some. We will continue to monitor. We've had, as far as I could tell, no reports other than earlier today. We had some funnel clouds out by Willard and by Attica. That was perhaps an hour and a half, 2 hours ago now. Same cluster, same system. So it has a bit of a history. And in all probability, as it went through Mansfield and Ontario, it looked like there probably was a wall cloud. There might be a wall cloud in here, although there's so much rain around it, might be rain wrapped at this stage, at least at this point in the storm. You might see something a little bit south of Lucas and also near Hayesville. And just north of Loudonville. But as far as we could tell, we've had no reports of any damage anywhere other than the funnel clouds earlier today, and I hope that remains to be the case. Let's go ahead and see what's happening. Any reports of damage anywhere, Dante, from this?
No, not seeing any reports of damage, Andre, although McKinsey brought to my attention here that the National Weather Service was saying that they're going to make a decision within the next 10 minutes on whether to keep this tornado warning or not, because as you mentioned, these are pulsating and unpulsating, pulsating and ebbing and flowing, and with these rotations, they'll become tightened and then they'll broaden out. They'll become tightened and then they'll broaden out. So we're looking at and analyzing each one of these as they do that. And so it looks like here, they're going to make that decision within the next 10 minutes. Now also a tornado warning is continued, but it looks like it's located near Hayesville or 10 miles just south of Ashland. And it's moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. And so that would be here, if we just kind of scoot out here just a little bit. I was going to show you rainfall totals there with this one. As we're getting some heavy rain with some of these, as well as some hail that's coming down. And we'll take a look at that in just a second. But they're going to continue. Let's put the tornado warning back on here, and we'll track that for you as we look at the warnings and we look at where this tornado and where this storm is likely to go. As this is the only tornado warning that we're seeing. We're not necessarily seeing any others. The others are just severe thunderstorm warnings as opposed to anything that's tornadic. So we're still looking at this storm here that's down towards southern Richland and Ashland counties being the counties that have any sort of warnings on them. There's still a severe thunderstorm warning up towards Cuyahoga County as well, with a lot of lightning. So look at all this lightning here in southern Richland and Ashland counties, all of the lightning there as well. So just a heads up, just to give you that you certainly want to be careful with any of these storms with the lightning. The National Weather Service has a saying, when thunder roars, head indoors. And so that's exactly what you want to do with any of these storms because of the lightning that's around. So we just want to make you aware of that. And we've been telling you about your safe places and going to your safe places, but we also just want to make you aware that anytime these thunderstorms are coming in here, there's a lot of lightning with these, and so we just want to make you conscious that lightning can do a lot of damage, even 15, 20 miles away. So if you think that you're safe because the storm isn't close to you, that could certainly be a wrong decision to go out there in some of these storms that are still moving on with a lot of lightning. Okay, so here's where we are. We're looking at these storms down towards, again, the Loudonville area, Lucas, Vermilion over into Ashland County, and it's moving to the south and east. And so the National Weather Service is looking at this storm in particular and saying that they're going to monitor this within the next few minutes here, for the next 10 minutes, to see if they'll continue that or not. Looking at this, there's been a lot of reports of gusty winds in the line of Cuyahoga and Summit County, but no damage reports so far, as the storms have sort of continued to weaken a bit. But still watching it. So we're aware of gusty winds, but probably the outflow boundary. And as I mentioned, if you were in Cuyahoga Falls, that you would feel the gusty winds and probably see a shelf cloud off to your west. So that's in line with what's going on there. So if you start to hear the wind pick up, feel the wind pick up, that's not necessarily indicative of tornado, but what it is indicative of really gusty straight line winds at times. So kind of stay away from the windows. That's even since the derecho of the 94 mile an hour gusts and even high gusts as well that weren't quite 94, but still were pretty high, and damage was done. It's just really important to stress to you, even straight line winds, even these storms that are just severe warned as opposed to tornadic warned, just stay away from the windows. Don't try and look at it, because you don't want to end up having any sort of fatalities or any injuries from glass or any other debris because of curiosity. So just kind of stay away from them, because they have a history of producing some really gusty winds. And it's one thing if it's a variety thunderstorm or garden variety thunderstorm, or what we call maybe a pulse storm or what have you. But these are severe warned because of some of the gusty wind elements in them. So just kind of stay away from the windows there. So again, just looking at three severe thunderstorm warnings, and then one tornado warning. And the National Weather Service has continued to look at this storm in particular in southern Ashland County that still has a history of funnel clouds and wall clouds and pulsating rotations, broad and then narrow rotations. They're looking at that and making an assessment. Should we continue that until 8:30 or past 8:30? Should we let it expire? And so Andre's been looking at some of those rotations for us to see where he can sort of pinpoint any of the broad or tighter rotations, and that will sort of give us a sense if the National Weather Service is going to allow this to expire, or if they're going to continue to look at that. And so while he's looking at some of those, I'm looking at some of these rainfall that's moving over towards the southern Ashland County area, over towards western and northern Wayne County, looking at those areas to see where those heavy rainfall. So it looks like thank you, Mackenzie, they did expire the tornado warning for Ashland County. So as they were monitoring along with us and Andre, the pauses in the rotation, I think they figured that it was just broad enough that they will go ahead and allow that to expire. So now that that's expired, we will just broaden this out one more time and show you that we have three severe thunderstorm warnings now in Northeast Ohio. They are not tornado warned at this time, as the National Weather Service has allowed that to expire. So with that, just in time for 8:30 here, we will go ahead and end our coverage here and send you back to network. But should there be another tornado warning that goes off, of course, we will cut in again and get you through it here from the Dick Goddard Weather Center. Until then, Mackenzie Bart will have you updated coming up tonight at 10 o'clock. See you then.